What's up, world? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you, and it's all brought to you by our friends over at Toyota of Warren. Thanks to Tino and the whole crew over there for making our job, first off, possible, and secondly, a little bit easier to get to you each and every day. Big day yesterday. I had to make the journey, right? I had to get my passport and head on over to Southeast. Now, it's not their fault. It's my fault that I live in East Palestine, and I've got to use all my Southwest points to get to the to Southeast. No pun intended. So Mooney takes on Southeast. It was an I mean, it was crazy. It was one of those days. We talk about them a lot when you're dealing with technology, you're dealing with live sports, and you're dealing with time constraints. A lot of that stuff can go sideways quickly. So I want to thank the guy that never gets thanked, Brian Scott, the big fella, constantly being able to bail us out of problems across the network, and bailed me out yet again yesterday. The sun was out. I was in left field. I'm not complaining, just telling you the situation. There was no juice to my computer, so we had to go to a backup computer, which luckily I had. And then from there, we hadn't used it in 2 years. So it was a mess, folks. Stuff that hopefully you don't see on the air. The headsets weren't working, so I was literally yelling into a into a laptop. It was wild. It was wild, but such is life in live sports. And I'll tell you what a game we ended up having yesterday between Cardinal Mooney and Southeast. For Southeast, unfortunately, their season comes to a conclusion at home. Talking to some of the guys out there yesterday, that's got to be one of the toughest feelings, right? When you're the higher seed, and I think it was a 10-9 matchup or a 9-8 matchup or something like that, and you look at how that transpires to end the season on your home field, it's a tough look. It's a tough look, especially because in Southeast, I'm not sure if you know this, if you've ever been there. I know it's been the topic of a few TikToks, as I understand it. The dimensions are wild. It's like playing in a pony league field, maybe even a little bit lower. It's 350 in center, 250 in left and right. I mean, pop-ups can get out of the yard quick, and there was a jet stream going on, flying out of the ballpark yesterday. No home runs, though. No home runs, even though Willie Otis, I know you called one. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. But, it very well could have. But runs were hard to come by in the first part of that game. Runs were hard to come by for the middle part of that game, and then all of a sudden, the runs open up. And it was weird because the first run actually occurred on an overthrow from the catcher to the pitcher. There's a runner at third, there's an overthrow, and all of a sudden, Cardinal Mooney's on the board. And then the floodgates open up, and they've got 4 runs. And then on the bottom half of that inning, I believe it was Southeast that puts 3 on the board based off of errors and defensive mishaps, let's call it. So you look at that and you go, man, whew. As these playoffs continue to unfold, folks, I think we're going to be in for some good playoff baseball and softball. I think we're going to be in for it. I haven't had the chance to watch any softball live yet. I've seen a couple games here and there on YSN, and obviously we've been doing the write-ups, but we're seeing some wild games. Last night, Salem again. You look at Carson Rhodes, the kid throws a 1-hitter in the sectional semis, goes 3 hits to commit to Virginia Tech, rather. I mean, you look at what Carson Rhodes has quietly been able to do this year. And he's got a cast of characters there too. You look at the walk-off by Burt last night. I love the picture that Krista Rhodes took. It's right there, center stage. It's Carson and Burt right after the double that won it, the walk-off 2-1 winner. sending Salem to the next round, the sectional finals. But you look at some of the theatrics that the Quakers have been able to do. They had a I would say it was an upset, just from a matter of speaking. I think that Salem's got a chance. They're doing things. Can the pitching hold up for them in the sectional finals? There won't be any Carson Rhodes, but will there be a little bit of help? Can you get that? I mean, there's two schools of thought in baseball, right, with pitching. And this is what Salem has to do. You either hold the pitching till the finals and pray that you get there, or that you pitch your ace and you get to the finals and you roll the dice there. That is the just age-long question is what's your rotation when you get to this OHSAA playoffs? When you get to the tourney, who's going to be the horse that carries you to the game, and who's going to be the horse that wins the game in the championship for you? You got to have two. There's a lot of question marks on a lot of these teams. Do they have two? You look at Mooney, the Brenner and Ben connection. I love it. I'm excited about it. I think that's the matchup, as Mooney will take on United tomorrow as it's scheduled. Storm Tracker 21 says that might not be happening. But I think we got to go Brenner to Benner. The Brenner to Benner connection at Mooney could be the one that upsets the apple cart a little bit in their path. You've got two stallions on the mound. I think South Range has the dogs to get it there. I don't know. I know. Listen, I know. People are going to say, oh, shocker, DJ's talking about South Range. I get it. I understand it. But tell me I've been wrong more than I've been right. Nope. Sometimes it's just fact, folks. South Range, who has beat the NE8 champion Poland Bulldogs twice now with a win last night. And Poland is tough. They're battling injuries. They're trying to limp their way through it. But Poland is tough. South Range, remember, let's hit the rewind button. This is a team that had way more losses than they did wins the season that they won the state championship. And if you think for 1 second that they give one damn about what their record is going into the OHSAA tournament, I've got some snow to tell you to an Eskimo. It ain't happening. They don't care. They care about the next game, the one in front of them. That's what they care about. And I've got to give a lot of credit to Tyler Wardle. And this is not because of what his name is. This is because of what he's made of his name. And his name has been in the news every single time there's a South Range story to be written. You can count on one hand in this crazy season that we've had. You can count on one hand, less than one hand, as a matter of fact, the amount of games that young man has not had a hit and contributed to the box score. That by itself is incredible. I know people are going to sit there and listen, the NE8 is still the NE8. Let's not get it twisted. There's great pitching in the NE8, and he continues to be consistent for a team his senior year. And I got to tell you, that's probably why Grove City is smiling like a butcher's dog. They're probably sitting there going, wait, we got him? We have this guy coming to our campus next year. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. And I've told Sean Wardle and I told Michelle Wardle, I think personally, this kid, this is the beginning of an incredible journey for him going into college. That is a baseball guy, high baseball IQ, hard worker. And he's put in the work across the board, right? We talk about hard workers and the people that I respect the most. And there's a lot of hard workers in this particular region of the state. But when you talk about a guy like Tyler Wardle, the War Daddy, right? When you talk about what he's been able to do, now he's got great genes in athletics and he's really, really smart. But what I'm telling you, what you're going to see is this blanket of hard work that he's done on the surface, this foundational level of hard work. It's great that you work hard. But like Bill Belichick will always said, it doesn't do a hill of beans, I'm paraphrasing, if you can't improve. It's great that you work hard, but if you're not working hard at something in particular, that doesn't matter. You're just a hard worker. Look at Julian Edelman, right? You can go out and run 50 hill sprints, but at the end of the day, what is it doing to make you better? Tyler Wardle right now is in a space that is unbelievable. And there's others, by the way, that are like that. I can name them. Some of them are still in their journey of kind of putting down that foundational layer of brick. Tyler, the War Daddy, he's stacking bricks right now, building on every single experience that he has, learning from experiences because now he's getting the reps. That's why 4-year starters in high school are always better by the time they're seniors and have the experience to most likely go to the next level and play. It's those reps. That's why we always talk about the teams in the Ohio high school playoffs in football, the teams that go 14, 15, 16 weeks on a consistent basis are better year after year after year. Their underclassmen continue to progress because they're getting extra seasons. They're getting extra reps. They're constantly out there. Those experiences translate to greater opportunities later on. The game slows down. Wardle, who's been able to lead by example, the game is slowing down for him. The confidence is building for him. So he knows, hey, I'm in the leadoff spot. I've got to set the table. He doesn't have to hit home runs. He doesn't have to go gap to gap. His job is number one, get on base. And by doing that, Jim Hannick has taken a load of burdens off of the War Daddy's back. So there's a little bit of coach and player handshake and head nodding going on. Because you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Is there a lot of essential leadership out of that one spot for South Range? There is. You bet your bottom dollar. But I can tell you that when you have a coachable athlete like Seven, it makes a world of difference. Because those coachable athletes are yes, are they going to beat themselves up from time to time? They are. But are they going to be able to jump back on that horse and ride that stallion right back into town and fight the fight with you and jump into the foxhole and battle? Yes. Yes. Those are the kinds, coachable kids, coachable athletes. Those are the kinds of players, those are the kinds of guys, gals that you want on your roster, no matter where they play on the field. We've talked before about a guy named Logan Bell, currently Bowling Green State University, currently doing a hell of a job. Won the Medal of Honor for Bowling Green State University on the baseball team. A guy that bet on himself. This is why I love this area so much, is because we constantly get no love, no appreciation, and yet we have student athlete after student athlete after student athlete that they continues to pop their head up like whack-a-mole and say, hey, right here, no scholarship, no problem. I'm in. I'll show you. I'll earn it. Mitch Davidson. You ever heard of him? Pretty good. Nobody gave him a shot either. And now he's going out and essentially trying out for the San Francisco 49ers. Perennial Super Bowl contenders. To go from where Mitch Davidson started to where he potentially can end up, what a story that is. And you know what's crazy about that story is that there's a zillion of them right here in this region. And I'm not, yeah, a zillion's an exaggeration. I get it. But I'm talking to you right now. As I'm telling you these stories of Logan Bell, Mitch Davidson, Tyler Ward, you're thinking of somebody in the back of your mind. Riley Hutton signs today. I'm telling you, Riley Hutton is going to be a young lady to keep your eye on. She's dedicated, she's loyal, yes, but absolutely, I think she's going to be one of those players that is kind of down here to start, showing her loyalty, getting her foot in the door, and then all of a sudden, she might be a transfer portal to D1. Not that there's anything wrong with D3, because if you're winning a national championship, listen, anytime you can win a natty, it's a good thing, right? You show up to a steak dinner with 4 championship rings at the national level in college, you might have a story or two to talk about. But there are so many players at this level that coaches, recruiters, and they will tell you, and we have heard it, and I cannot wait to show you with prospect what I'm talking about. That coaches and recruiters do not give our area as much love as it deserves for many reasons. Oh, the talent. Oh, it's the measurables. It's the competition level, right? I am so sick of hearing about the competition level and how it's low around here. Like these coaches, and I don't even know if they believe themselves. It's just like they get starstruck when they get to walk into D1 players, D1 schools, and they go, "Oh, you want to play here? Absolutely." And then you get to go back as a coach and say, "I recruited a player, pardon me, from a D1 school." They get as starstruck with those players as our players get as starstruck with coaches walking into the gym, walking into the gym or to the locker room, walking into your home with their swag on. I think it's absolutely crazy to me. Oh, what do we got going on here on Facebook with the comment section? I guess hey, when you are the number one sports outlet in Bangladesh, this is what you get. Okay. You get people just trying to bust it down. Pat McAfee gets a billion of these, I bet. This is the price of fame, people. This is the price of hard work. Is we're going global. Bangladesh's number one sports network, YSN, unofficial, but we're riding with it, baby. We are riding that horse. We can't wait to get the Bengals on board. The Bangladesh Bengals, as Coach Hake says. But in all seriousness, I mean, to watch these kids, and I use kids loosely as a nearly 40-year-old, when you watch these student athletes go and do their job, the second half of their job, first half's in the classroom, second half is on the court, the playing field, whatever it may be. And to see these recruiters walk in and say, yeah, but who are they playing? I mean, you're hitting off a kid that throws 85. Yeah, he's 85 and he's a lefty and he's going to Kent State. I think Mooney made a little bit of a statement last night. Everybody's counting out Ursuline. Ursuline continues to steamroll teams. They continue to flex their muscles. We have way more competition in this region, in this valley, than anybody will ever admit, and especially in the diamond sports. Look at what Austintown Fitch is doing. I don't care which diamond you're looking at. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're building over there in silence. Well, maybe not the softball team in silence because they're pretty loud, and they should be nationally ranked. Absolutely. But don't sleep on the baseball team. Don't sleep on the Falcons. The boys are swinging the twig pretty good right now. A 5-0 win over JFK, which, oh, by the way, they're pretty freaking good too. I'm a huge fan. And this is why I love this time of year and everybody like I'm not mad about writing 40 stories a night. Not a bit. And I give a lot of kudos to Anthony Hartwig, who, if you don't know, is the maestro of all of these stories, right? He's calling the shots. He's quarterbacking this bad boy. I'm at his beck and call every single night. Hey, what do you need? Just do the baseball stories. Got it. On it. Let's go get him, coach. And I think that's why I appreciate our student athletes, because the majority of them are coachable. Very rarely you get that one super athlete that isn't. And you don't sit there and go shame, shame, shame. You sit there and you go, how can we help you? How can that's when you need to be a coachable athlete and a teammate more than ever. Is when there is a standout athlete, or as some will call it, prima donna, right? It's those moments that you see who the true leaders are. Because true leaders are not the ones that are basking in the glow of the spotlight. True leaders are the ones that are trying to shuffle in the back, making sure that the show goes on to the best of its ability. Those are the leaders. The headliners, those are fantastic, right? And every parent wants the headliner kid. But you show me the guy that sets the table. You show me the guy that's high-fiving a kid that gets tackled or, has a bad day at the office. That's the kid I'm looking for. Those are the kids that the recruiters are looking for, because there are not many of those out there either. Oh, look what we got. The boys are here. The boys are here. They're swinging the twigs. Brady Shannon in the house with the big fella. Speaking of outstanding superstars and the ones that'll wrap their arm around you and coach you up. Pretty good one right there. From a standpoint of what we have going, so I want to talk real quick about our playoff process and how we're choosing our live streams, just from the standpoint of that we've had a couple inquiries, I guess you could call it. No, I'm not going to put them on blast. What I can tell you is, so when we do pay-per-view games, we have to go by analytics of what is good for business and what is not good for business. So over the last 3 years, we have data that tracks, aka Brian Scott, that tracks how much money we have to pay for the OHSA playoffs for baseball and softball, as well as basketball and football and volleyball, all that stuff. We have all that information. When we do playoffs and we do the $9.99 for basketball and we do $9.99 for football, it's all good. We're, as long as we break even, we will continue to do it, and we always break even and then some. So for us, it really comes down to, okay, what can we use the football like almost athletic budgets do? Can we use what we make in football to cover baseball and softball and volleyball? The answer to that is no. Like, so we make good, decent, funding, but it's not enough to cover what we would send out for baseball and softball. So the easy answer, for us at least, is, hey, we'll make this a sponsorable opportunity for, small businesses. Maybe not the ones that want to get involved at the major corporate levels, but ones that still want to see their kids and to be recognized for it. So last night for Mooney, it was a couple. It was Ryan and Teddy Reese, and they know, what YSN brings to the table, and they said, no, absolutely not. We are not going to miss this. We understand the value of this, and they packaged it up. They paid the $200 themselves, and we're incredibly grateful for that. Is it a business transaction? It is, but it's also like, we're grateful that you're giving us an opportunity to go out and work, because we want to work. That's what we want to do. We love what we do. So for us, $200 for these games, is it a lot in some cases? Yeah, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However, is the juice worth the squeeze? Well, we had over 1,000 people tuned into the Cardinal Mooney game yesterday. So, you know, Ryan and Teddy did an awesome job for them. You got McDonald's in Columbiana that is going to sponsor the Crestview Columbiana game tomorrow. Um, the Reeses had such a good time the first time. They're sponsoring the game again tomorrow against United. So you're seeing this kind of happen. And that's why we have to do what we have to do. Like, we can't, we're not a charity. We're not a 501c3, anything of that nature. We love giving to them, but we've got to stay afloat as well. And we can't lose money by doing these games. And if these games were free for us, we wouldn't charge a dime to anybody. It would be just like we do in the regular season. We would go get the sponsorships and then cover the cost of those in the corporate sponsorships. This is how we got to do business. And I get that people are upset and why aren't you covering my team? And it doesn't make us feel good. Anthony, myself, Sam Torres, anybody, Brian as well, when we've got to answer, we don't have that game because we don't have a sponsor. We're not trying to put the pressure on you. We're just trying to explain essentially why we don't have that particular game that particular night. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. I hope that is a little bit more clear cut as to why. I know there were a lot of questions. There was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of finger pointing saying we love this team more than we love this team. I mean, if that's the truth, there were no East Palestine games. There were no South Range games. So let's come on. You can't beat me up and then flip the coin and then beat me up on the other side too. So that's kind of where it's at. I mean, Poland, we followed Poland pretty much the entire year. Anthony was latched to them. So like, I'm not saying give us a break. I love when you're so passionate about your teams. This is why we exist. But just a little bit of clarity. That's all. That's all there is. We're going to take a break. We come back. We will talk a little bit more about what's going on. What's going on in the playoffs. I'm absolutely in love with this time of year because we're on the precipice. We are right there of these summer games where you walk into Scene Park, the sun's beating down on you. You smell the concession stand. You walk into the Boardman Field of Dreams. You get that pretzel. You get that hot dog, a little ice cream. You watch great baseball. You watch great softball. We're right there, folks. But we've got one hell of an appetizer with the OHSAA and the tournament time. We'll be back right after this on the Ysn Power Hour, powered by our friends at Toyota of Warren. Back after this.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. And whether it's simply, I got to watch my son or daughter when I was out of town, or we just love watching YSN. We love what you do for our son or daughter. So whenever someone says thank you or someone is appreciative of what we're doing, it tells me everyone at YSN is doing what we initially set out to do, which is shine a light on these athletes and help them kind of promote themselves. My name's Anthony Hartwig, and my sports network is your sports network.
There's the man himself, Anthony Hartwig. DJ Yoakley right here with you, taking you through to just about the 4 o'clock hour. And then I will be headed out. We got a slew of interviews that we will have available, hopefully, fingers crossed, tonight. But if not, definitely tomorrow on YSN. We are interviewing the Cardinal Mooney baseball team. So, one that is well deserved, and one that is a little bit past due. We're gonna go heavy on interviews here in the next few weeks. We want to do a lot of, and here's another little beef that I've had with this spring. We've had zero time to do interviews because we've been playing catch up. We had that 2-week spot that we were still catching our breath from basketball season and trying to build content. Obviously, we did interviews as many as we could then. And then we hit full blast spring, where I think we played, 17 straight days, something like that. I mean, it was crazy. It meant 23 straight days, 23 straight days, I'm told. So you look at that and you go, "Phew," like that's a lot. There's a lot of people that would not be able to hammer down for 23 days. I am grateful for the team that I have here at YSN. My teammates, just they get it. We're a skeleton crew when it comes to spring ball, but I got to say, we, at least from my standpoint, we've knocked it out of the park, and that we continue to grow from a standpoint of supporters, sponsors, advertisers, and things like that. And if you want to become one of those, this isn't panhandling. Get on board, because football's right around the corner, and we are expecting a full boat for football this year. So if you want to jump in, the water's warm, baby. Give us a message on our socials. Email me, dj.yokley, YOKLEY, at ysnlive.com, or easy way is info, info, at ysnlive.com. We will come up with a package that is perfect for you. The marketability is unbelievable. Last year, 2023, 12.4 million views on our website. That is page views, folks. 12.4 million views on our website. There is not a sports entity in this state that has done that. That's history. And we're looking to double down on it and be the Paul Skeens of local sports and the Ohio sports here this year, and just continue to just go YSN, 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 all the way down. We haven't had a chance to talk about Paul Skeens. Maybe we'll save that for another time. I don't want to get too jumbled, but tomorrow we talked about interviews. We have a very special, very, very special, 100% committed to interview. He was supposed to, I tried to get him on today. He wasn't supposed to come on today. I tried to get him on. He's on a bus right now trying to get to another game. And ladies and gentlemen, history will be made tomorrow when we announce that East Liverpool's Evan Tice will be the first ever 4-year All-Star for the All-Star game. Any of our All-Star games, Evan Tice will make YSN history. The YSN legend himself, ET 55, will be on our show tomorrow to talk about how this year's transpired, how next year, how he's looking for. He's in the one of the most unique situations that I could ever imagine. Everybody shoots for that D1 star, and sometimes you come up short. Well, ET hits for Mercyhurst and then commits, and then all of a sudden they go, you know what? We're going to be D1. We looked at ourselves in the mirror. We're looking pretty good. We're going to be D1. So you go from being, a D2 catcher to a D1 catcher overnight. And we're going to talk to him about his emotions, if that was explained to him, or if that was something that was a huge surprise. And obviously, it's one thing to be recruited as a D1 catcher. It's another thing to make it as a D1 catcher. We're going to talk about one of the hardest workers always in the room. Evan Tice will join us on the show tomorrow. I'm excited. That's catcher talk, baby. I can't wait for it. And one of my favorite catchers, he's definitely in the top two. He's definitely in the top two. Joe Roth and Evan Tice. I mean, those two dudes, it's like 1 and 1A, whichever way you put it. So cannot wait to talk to ET and talk about the excitement that is going on in his world right now. He's done with class, or he's done with all his work for classes. And we'll talk about the whole graduation experience too. So we'll have that. And we'll obviously have a slew of Cardinal Mooney interviews as well tomorrow on the show. One of the things that I'm really excited, I want to talk to John Brenner. I want to talk to Ben Otis and Caden Reese specifically. And some of the questions that I'm going to ask them, and if they're watching, this is a dead giveaway, but like for Otis and Reese, I think asking them, going from not losing hardly ever, right, to a year that has been turbulent and topsy-turvy, and you've got good games, you got bad games, but you've got two freshmen that are essentially placed in the top 3 or 4 spots in the lineup. And that is a big spot. That is a burden. And how they've dealt with that from a mental side of things, do they feel like there's pressure? Is it one of those things? And is it bursting pipes some days and creating diamonds others? I'm excited for that. For Johnny Brenner, for him to be an underclassman and to lead, from the front, and to be a guy that is continuing to push the limits for this. I mean, he had 9 Ks last night, went the distance, and it's not the first time we've seen that. This is a great group of young men and a great group of athletes. And just to be tied together, do they realize that? Do they look around the lineup? Do they look around the clubhouse, so to speak, and they go, in 10 years, we're really going to appreciate the level of athleticism and talent that was in this dugout at one time. I'm looking forward to interviewing those gentlemen here later tonight. I know Anthony's doing a great job with the interviews on his side. He's just, my man is just killing it in all levels. And I just, Anthony, if you're watching, this one's for you, buddy. We're proud of you each and every day. But I got to tell you, from a standpoint of, and I keep saying from a standpoint, like, who else's standpoint's it going to be? It's mine. But I will say this, looking at these stories and looking at the potential of, can our teams go the distance? Will we have a team in regionals? Will we have a team, obviously districts? Yes. Excuse me. Will we have a team that fights for state? Guys, I think the answer is yes in both sports. I think softball is going to be incredibly, incredibly interesting. I think there's a couple underdogs around the state that could cause some of our teams trouble in softball. And I think that we're the underdogs in baseball that can cause a lot of trouble. We can make a lot of waves this year on the diamond. 2 in softball for sure, says David Balestrino. Yeah, I would argue that there's 3 or 4. I would argue, Dave, that there's 3 or 4 teams that can make runs deep into the playoffs. I think we all know who those 3 or 4 teams are. There's also 3 or 4 teams that could be upset specialists. And I think that we don't know who those teams are. I think Anthony does. I think he's said it quietly to some people in the YSN circles, maybe outside the YSN circle. But he and Ty are quietly kind of, oh boy, this could be a problem. And one of them potentially could be a YSN school very soon. That could be a giveaway. But they've been making waves, and if you've been paying attention on YSN, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. But people are looking at baseball this year, right? You look at Yappy, you look at all these message boards, and you see, oh, well, this team's not, it's such a weak year for baseball. Such a weak year. Listen, if that Yappy is a football first, right? Ohio is a football first state. I'm not saying people don't know what they're talking about, but if you do not understand, go back and listen to the Jim Hannick interview from a few weeks ago. He explained it best. And if you know baseball, you understand this so well. Is that baseball is this game of breaks of literally inches, and not the Al Pacino type of inches of it's fair or it's foul with bases loaded. And the next pitch you deliver, you could strike out or you could hit a grand salami. It's more than that. It's, do you send the runner home when there's a kid in left field that has an absolute cannon for an arm? And Sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield on calls like that. There's so much luck that goes into it. If you went back to 2018 and you said, hey, South Range is going to win this state championship, the odds are against you, my friend. And you would have won a lot of money and you would have went to jail because you bet on high school baseball. However, it's the same thing this year. Everybody's looking at one team, two teams. That's it. What teams are hot right now? Look at the teams that are hot right now. Look at the teams that are healthy right now. It's not unlike NHL hockey in that way. The healthiest teams are going to be the most successful teams. It doesn't matter how many seniors you have. I hate to break it to you. It doesn't matter how many juniors you have. It matters, are your guys hot or are they close to breaking out of a slump and getting hot? Do you have two pitchers and a closer? Do you have a solid outfield that doesn't cost you games by letting balls get over their head, that takes good angles to the baseball or the softball? That's what it comes down to. Steve Ward, I would guarantee, would tell you that while certain players get a lot of the shine, it took every player on that roster last year to win a state championship. Because there are so many things, there's so many ingredients in the recipe of success along the way that we forget about the small moments, that pinch runner stealing a bag, getting in scoring position, the sacrifice fly, a sacrifice bunt. We forget about all of these monumental plays that just go as sack in the book, right? But they put our teams that we love just a little bit closer to that championship, just a little bit closer to winning that game, just a little bit closer to winning that inning. And in the grand scheme of things, we fall in love with 15 strikeouts for just reasons. A home run here, a home run there. Listen, it's flashy. Chicks dig the long ball. They always will, in one way or the other. But it's a situation where we've got to look deeper into the scorebook, into the game changer, into the story of what made this game different. Who made this game? Who put people in this situation to win this game? That's the biggest one. That's the biggest one. Bernie says the young Howland Tigers are getting hot right now. Bernie, I'm with you. I'm with you. I had the chance to watch them a week ago, and that walk-off was a heartbreaker for Howland. But you look at how they fought back against Mooney that entire game. I'll tell you what, Bernie. I'll tell you what. Britt Taylor's got something going over there. He's got those kids believing that they are special. And that's half the battle. That is half the battle. Good defense, great pitching. That, my friend, as you know, is going to take you far. And it could be this year. But as you get more experience, you get more reps, as we talked about at the beginning part of the show, that team is going to get better and better. The Howland Tigers baseball team, they're going to be something. And I'm not necessarily counting them out this season, folks. I'm not counting them out. There's a lot of people that did very early on, and I've been impressed with them. I've watched quietly, writing their stories, doing all that, right? Whew. Look out. Bernie, you are spot on, buddy. You are spot on. Howland Tigers, they could be something to mess around with. They could be something to mess around with. Watch that Tiger team. I think when it comes down to it, there's teams that you have to watch. I mean, if we're fortunate enough to get the sponsorships to watch these games at, whether the sectional districts and hopefully regionals and on, You've got to watch Fitch softball. Yeah, that's a must watch. On the other side, you got to watch Fitch baseball. John Darnley is a dude. He is a dude, and you don't want to mess with him. And they've got hitters all over that lineup. They are peppered with guys that can change the complexion of a game in one single swing. I'm going with Bernie. I'm saying the Howland Tigers. Oh, here we go. Here we go. First off, Brad Devine, public shout out for you, man. You're killing it with the camera. What you do is phenomenal. Brad is one of our photographers that has volunteered his time and say, hey, take whatever you would like. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you so much. All right, let's hear what Brad has to say. If Crestview can get past Columbiana, maybe shakes off the demons from from the first loss they had, basically. You know, where the Rebels are is on. You know, they are tough. And here's the other thing that I'm going to tell you. And yeah, Lebray. Oh boy. Whoa. Where the heck did they come from? They are outstanding to watch. Lebray is so good. So good. They are fun to watch. They are tough. And that MVAC, man, for being a football conference, their baseball and softball, not too shabby. Not too shabby. But to get back to your point, Brad, and again, thank you very much. We appreciate you so much. That Crestview Columbiana game tomorrow, the first one was outstanding. Joey Cebio is obviously going to be on the call for that one. One of our veteran broadcasters, one of the best voices that we will ever have on YSN. And for him to call that game, his son Alex being a key part in that game, I would say. Round 2 of Crestview Columbiana. If the first game at Eastwood Field was a big deal, this game, winner moves on, loser goes home. Oh man, it's gonna stir up all the emotions. All the old timers will be there and watching on YSN. And it's all brought to you thanks to our Columbiana McDonald's. Thank you very much, Mr. Foz. Appreciate you. But I will say this, when you have games like that, that's why that first game was so important. Because there's a lot of people in Crestview that are game faces on now. Right now. And there's a lot of confident people in Columbiana that say, hey, we got them once. We could do this again. And they're not wrong. But I think they're going to be facing a completely different Crestview team. I think they're going to be facing a team tomorrow that is hungry. And they just, the Clippers just have to be hungrier. They just have to be more hungry. You you have one dad on the mic, another dad behind the still camera. That's right. That's how we do it, buddy. That's how we do it. We make sure we got the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and I'll let you pick which one you want to be. It's fun. It's all fun. Sam chiming in says, such a weird time of year for softball with teams playing in the playoffs and still trying to nail down conference titles. Yeah. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. You're going to see a lot more of that in softball than you are baseball. And a lot of parents are going to say, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, it does, because there is little to no arm restrictions for pitchers in softball. Like, that's why you see all these pitchers. You really only need 1-2 pitchers tops in softball. You know, sometimes you'll have other underclassmen, so that way you can fill in as time goes along. But in baseball, these coaches, and these coaches were pulling their hair out this entire spring because they knew when that other shoe drops, and ladies and gentlemen, it has, they could have conference championships on the line, as Sam said, in baseball, and still trying to move on to the next round in their tournament side. So you've got guys, I mean, you could have 4 games in a week because the conference is like, all right, let's just wrap this baby up. Let's get a to-go order, wrap it up, and let's get out of here. Conference doesn't care about your arms. They don't. They care that they're checking off the box and saying, we handed such and such a trophy. We gave them a hat and a t-shirt or whatever it is, right? It's unfortunate in most cases. So some I'm not going to call it all conferences and commissioners. Some of them get it. They're like, listen, if you need to reschedule this game for, a week from now, we're good with that. But most coaches are like, what do we do? Everybody's arm hurts at this time of year. It's like football. You get to week 11, and parents, you know it better than anybody. Your son, your daughter, they're banged up. All that sliding, all that swinging, all that throwing, all that, whatever it may be, it takes a toll on your body. And by this time, especially because you're playing all these games in a condensed time period, there's no heal time. There's no rest time. There's no time for your body to play catch up and say, okay, we're getting back to 100. We're getting back to here. Yeah, it's the battle of attrition at this point, Sam. The war of health. It is. It's trying to get yourself and take such good care of your body. What you put in is what you get out. So, are you eating enough protein? Are you getting enough electrolytes? Are you drinking enough water and hydrating? All of that stuff. I'm not by any means the image that you want to portray, but I will say that there's a lot that goes into it. When you look at these athletes, they've got to carb up a lot. Paul Skeens on Pat McAfee today said he eats an entire chicken Alfredo before every start because that's what gives him enough energy to throw the baseball 100 plus miles an hour over and over and over and over again. So I can't imagine that these younger athletes that are doing this on a regular basis again and again and day in and day out, time after time, whatever you want to say, that they, do they even have enough time to load their bodies properly the way they should? College is a little bit easier. Remember, high school is like going to work. You leave at 7 o'clock in the morning, you come back at 3 o'clock. That's a full day. That's a full day. Are they able to properly hydrate, properly, nourish their bodies so they can go out there and compete on an everyday basis? So we will certainly find out. Kenny Powers, pregame meal is the best. You're gonna have to explain that one to me, but I just got into. I watched it years ago, and then we had the free subscription to HBO, and now I've got Max, so I'm catching up on my Kenny Powers, trying to get through the entire series. So you'll have to send that to me offline and let me know what Kenny Powers' pregame meal is, because I'm sure it's absolutely crazy. Let's get out of here. Let's pay some bills. Let's do a What's Your Spark presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Thanks to Eric Carlson, the entire team over at Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electric. Even if you just need a light bulb installed, make sure you call them and tell them YSN sent you. We love you guys so much. Thanks so much for everything that you've been able to do for us since the first time I sat down with Eric. He's known, he's believed in what we do, and that's why we believe it in them at Joe Dickey Electric. Here is your Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? Visit them today. In case you don't know their phone number, visit them today at DickeyElectric.com. Again, tell them YSN sent you. I'm going to keep this spark nice and easy. My spark, Paul Skeens, the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're still not great, but we've got Paul Skeens and you don't. And it's going to be like that for at least 5 years until we trade him to the Yankees or the Mets and they become really good. But I'm going to tell you, I believe in Bob Nutting. I believe this is the time. We're going to go out and get some free agents. We're going to do well. We're going to just continue to stay afloat get 500. And then after the All-Star break, we are going for it, baby. We are going for it. We got the Hundo boys. We got Jones and Skeens, and we've got Andrew McCutcheon. And who's coming with me? Pirates, World Series champs 2024. And I cry my eyes out. That's my prediction. That is going to do it for our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Again, tomorrow, Evan Tice will join us. We will also have some of the Carter Mooney interviews, so you do not want to miss tomorrow's show. And we might have Scotty Mincher. I don't know. He fell off the face of the earth last week, so we'll see if we got Scotty back and if he's doing okay or if he needs an APB for all of us to be looking out for him. But again, that's going to do it for our show. Tune in tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on your Sports Network. Peace be with you. Ysn thanks you for